Like, am I being a dick? What do you think?
Well, I mean, you're always being a dick. No, I'm just kidding. No,
No,
it's
I am. Let's jump into this week's news bits real quick, and got a couple little interesting things, little blurbs going on in the world of entertainment. The first one, and this is a big one, Nick. This is a huge one. Streaming, like movies and shows and all that, streaming, Netflix and whatnot, has finally taken over cable in viewership for the first time this past July. Really?
No shock
Just
to me.
now? I really thought this happened a long time ago, but apparently they're making a big deal about how it's finally overtaking cable. I was like, who the fuck is watching cable? Maybe it's just
some
me.
people are. I don't know.
Yeah.
Watching that Breaking Bad, I guess, or Better Call Saul.
I mean, I think you can watch that on streaming, can't you?
Yeah, I think you can actually. So what the fuck's the point?
I don't know what they're watching. I did
Jeopardy.
not think that many people. I figured streaming overtook cable a long time ago, but apparently no. 2022, July of 2022. That's when it finally happened, ladies and gentlemen. Yay, I guess. And it beat it by like whatever their million view, 0.03 or something like that. But I mean, hey, it beat it nonetheless. So. Good for that. So, I guess cable is going away. It's going down. I was surprised that cable was still around, but I don't know how they measure this or what. Probably the Nielsen report or something like that. I have no idea, but it's there. It is.
Nelson
people.
Report.
Yeah.
Not Nielsen. Nelson.
Yeah, or is it Nelson report?
No, I was making a joke.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay. I was like, I've been saying it wrong all these years. Okay, yeah, so big news there, I guess. All right, speaking of streaming, the show, and I actually, we haven't talked about this. I didn't know if you'd seen this show or not, but the blurb is that The Sandman on Netflix has added a star-studded 2-part bonus episode 2 weeks after its premiere. Me, myself, I haven't finished this show. I watched a couple of episodes, and I just haven't watched the rest of them. I planned on it maybe this weekend or sometime. I was gonna watch it. I was gonna check it out. I found it's a neat idea. The world was neat. It's a pretty cool show. It's got some lulls. It's got some weird shit going on in it. But overall, I was enjoying what I saw, I guess. Did you watch? I know you watched at least one episode, didn't you?
I watched like half an episode. I wasn't a huge. This is just me as a comic book reader. I'm not a huge fan of Neil Gaiman's stuff. It's just who I am. I mean, I don't have any problem with the guy because he's actually really good at what he does. But I watched like half an episode. And I'm like, this just isn't for me. I love the fantasy world. I love the idea of somebody that controls the dreams and what would happen if you get kidnapped and stuff like that. But I tried to read the graphic novel like a couple years ago and just wasn't for me. It's because it's really in depth. It's like reading like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings. There's a lot there, or Fables or something like that. There's a lot there, and it just wasn't something I was really interested in. Yeah,
I get that.
So
I mean, not
I have no
everything
problems
for
with
everybody.
it.
But I probably thought a little bit more. Now I will say that the show was a little bit not difficult, but it took. I needed to watch it for a bit, but I'm like that with a lot of TV shows. They don't like grab me right away. I need to watch a few episodes before I get into them usually. So it did take me a couple of episodes to actually get hooked, if you will. So hooked that I haven't watched the rest of it. But I thought it was. I think it's worth giving a shot. Watch the first few episodes if you are a fan, or if you're just in the middle of the road for The Sandman. They apparently like shadow dropped an extra bonus episode, well, a 2-part episode, which I guess that would be 2 episodes, just the other day, and nobody knew it was coming. And part of it, or the whole thing, I'm not sure, is animated, I guess, but it's got, it is directly tied to the show, and it has a lot of famous people in it, like James McAvoy. I don't have it in front of me. I just know there's a lot of famous names that were involved with it that are in the episode.
I think McAvoy was part of the audio book of Sandman or something like that, if I remember right.
Maybe that's why he's in it. I don't know.
I just remember, I remember Watchmen doing that thing where they did the animated portions of the.
The comic book, the motion comic for the
with Gerard Butler.
Yeah, the pirate ship thing that's going on in the background of the movie and the book. So I don't know if it's something like that or if it's all animated. Not sure, but I do know that if you like Sandman, if you finish the show and you're like, ooh, I really enjoyed that, there's more Sandman out there. So go check your Netflix account. Get some more Sandman goodness, I guess.
Give me a treat.
But hey, I guess I'll watch it eventually whenever I finish the show at some point in the next few weeks, I guess. All right, so our first bit of little gaming news today, and this is really just an informational thing, and people have been losing their minds over this in the gaming space, and that is that Death Stranding, which is a Kojima production, and it was a PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4 exclusive.
4. Yeah.
It came to PC this past year sometime, or this year, I think earlier this year. I actually own it, but I've never played it. But it came to PC, and people were kind of mad about that because the toxic community, not the fans, but the toxic community is kind of mad about anything that's an exclusive to PlayStation. How dare it go anywhere but there? But now they're even more pissed because now Death Stranding, as of the 23rd, which I think is Tuesday or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Officially
coming to Game Pass. So you know they real fucking mad about that because it can cut if it comes to PC. If one of their exclusives comes to PC, they mad. They this is bullshit. But if it goes to anything linked to the Xbox, it's like into the fucking world. I mean, they are losing. There's one guy who was even making bomb threats to Sony. I know that's making it a little bit bigger, but this kid who put out like things saying he should plant a bomb at PlayStation headquarters because Spider-Man came to PC. But anyway, these people are fucking ridiculous. But yeah, Death Stranding is coming to Game Pass. It's PC Game Pass. It's not Xbox game. You can't get it on Xbox. It is on the PC version. It's coming to Game Pass. So if you have not played that game and you are a Game Pass Ultimate or Game Pass PC member, you can now play it as part of your subscription. I do think it's funny. The story is just kind of get that information out there for those of you that want to know. It's a very cinematic game with Norman Reedus and I think Guillermo del Toro's in it.
Yeah, Conan O'Brien's in it as well.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Well,
yeah.
It's very cinematic. It's a pretty game. I will say that much. From what I've seen, it's a really pretty looking game. I might stream that one day, but it looks good. I know it's been very divisive as far as like some people love it and some people just hate it. And this was long before all this, like when it was just exclusive on the PlayStation. Some people are just like, I'm not into this game. It's a weird game. You walk around and deliver packages and something about babies. I don't know, but either way. You didn't? Did you play? Have you played the game?
I played about 20 hours of it, and it takes about 20 hours to start the story. I'm just kidding. No, I was not a fan of it, but it's definitely a pretty game. I'll give it that much. And there is a weird baby, and Guillermo del Toro and Mads Mikkelsen's in it. And
now I want to play it just for that stuff, but. Yeah, it's one of those games I heard you gotta like play for a long time to get into it. There was a Final Fantasy like that where people were like, "Oh man," everybody was trashing. I can't remember which one, but they were saying, "Oh, it's not any good." But it's an awesome Final Fantasy game. After you gotta like play something like 40 hours. After the 40th hour, it's awesome. I was like, dude,
you gotta hook me in like the credit sequence of the first 5 seconds, or otherwise I'm gonna go play something else.
Yeah, I'll even like a TV show. I'll even give it a few hours. If a game like takes a few hours to hook you, okay, I get that. It's cool. Learn the mechanics and stuff happen, but fucking hell, 40 hours. After 40 hours, it gets awesome. That first 40 hours sucks, though. I mean, that's not like saying, man, the tutorial's real bad, but once you get past it, it's great. No, 40 fucking hours, but that's a totally different game.
Oh, it's like Wolfenstein: The New Order. That tutorial sucked, but once you get past that tutorial, that game's fucking awesome.
Yeah, see, I can deal with that. I can deal with a bad level, not a whole bad game to get to the good game. But I'm not saying that that's what this one is. It sounds like it may be, but... it's coming if you're interested, and I'm not gonna lie, and while yes, the Xbox as far as consoles go, like new consoles, is my preferred platform, I have nothing against the other platform. I just kind of find it fun. Even if I was like hardcore PlayStation only fan and hated Xbox, I would still find it funny that people are losing their minds over this dumbass shit. It's a fucking video game. Who cares? It's not like they took it off of PlayStation and said, you can't have this anymore. It's going over here. No, just more people can play it. Get the fuck over yourself. But, okie dokie. Moving on to the next thing. Now I want to get your opinion on this, Nick. Grease. You know,
is
John
the
Travolta,
word, is
Olivia
the word,
Newton-John. Unfortunately, Olivia Newton-John, recently the singer-actress, passed away. But Grease, in honor of her, is getting a release. A limited re-release, a limited re-release in theaters. At AMC, I believe it is. In honor of Olivia Newton-John's death? I don't think they put it like that it was in honor of her death, but she passed away last week. And now they're re-releasing Grease for everybody to experience it in theaters for a few days. And while on the surface, this sounds, well, that's nice. You get to thinking about it, and I'm like, it kind of comes across as a little bit dirty to me. Because it's like, oh, she died. Let's capitalize on that and release this movie. Now, I will say, I don't have all the stuff in front of me that they said, but part of ticket sales, it is a discounted rate to get in. My understanding is like $5. Okay, nowadays $5 to see a movie, that's at an AMC theater, that's really cheap. Part of that admission is going to she died of breast cancer, is going to the breast cancer charity. That's great. $1 off of each ticket is going to that. So there's $4 more.
About right.
Now, I understand they have a price of, operation costs and stuff like that. There has to be a percentage that goes to operations. I don't feel like, what would that be? Like 80%? So about 20% of this is going to, 20% is going to this charity, and 80% is going to wherever it's going. I don't think 80% of it is. If you really, and they were really working it up like, oh, it's in honor of her and it's because of her and all this. I'm like, no, I feel like it's so you can make money. I feel like you're doing this you're a business, and I will never fault the business for making money because that's what they're there to do. But damn, this is kind of it's kind of dirty feeling. This person just passed away, and you're throwing it out there. Now, if they wanted to come out and be like, hey, $4 is going to breast cancer, and $1 is going here because we got to operate these places. We got to pay for the movie. They got to pay for the rights to the movie. They got to pay for this. They got to pay for that. I get that. It still kind of comes across as you're trying to make a profit, and you're just throwing this dollar out there to kind of save face and say, hey guys, no, we're doing it for her, or we're doing it for other people in honor of her. No, it sounds like you're trying to make it. You're trying to turn a few extra bucks. What do you think of this? Am I just being like, am I being a dick? What do you think?
Well, you're always being a dick. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's I told you earlier about the iTunes thing where they'll just automatically put up, oh, buy this film from blah 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 who just passed away. I'm like, every company will do something. Like
when Joel Schumacher died, it's all of a sudden like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin showing up all over like streaming platforms. Like, hey, buy this at a discounted rate.
Exactly. I don't know. If it were like a Fathom Events type of thing, it wouldn't matter. But it's like all of a sudden she dies. Oh, we're having Grease is the word pop up on AMC theaters. I'm like, okay. I guess $5. I guess some money may go towards breast cancer research. It's just it also depends on how many people are going to go see it. But it's just like, you're not wrong.
It's a limited thing, so I'm sure.
Yeah,
Grease is big enough. There'll be enough people that'll be like, "Hey, I want to see that in theaters." I think enough people will be there to fill the theater. I could be wrong, but I think you said it was actually yesterday, as of this recording. It's already. Well, I don't know how many days it's going for, but you said did it start yesterday?
They did one yesterday. I'm checking today to see if there's.
So it's already either happened or happening. I don't know how many days they're doing this for. If it's a. It did say it was a limited re-release. So.
They did it today too, so I'm assuming it's maybe over the weekend or a week. Yeah. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I've seen scummier things been done, but it's just you can tell they're trying to capitalize on what happened. So,
and that's the part. I don't think this is the worst thing in the world, but it's that somebody. I guess I didn't like how if they just put it out there and said, "Hey, we're re-releasing Grease in honor of her." And that's it. We're like, all right, but no, you throw that $1 in there. I'm like, don't try and make it sound like you're doing something, like you're doing this for a reason that you're not. Because if you were, you'd be like, every single amount of money that we don't have to operate, we're gonna put towards it. Don't act like it's for a charity.
I mean, this is like 2 screenings a day. They're making enough money off popcorn.
But
yeah,
movie
they're
theaters
making
need all the
enough
money they
off
can
popcorn
right now.
No, yeah, we'll find out about that later. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's you said something. You said popcorn. They movie theaters always. That's why their concessions cost so much, because they don't make a lot off tickets. With this, they make, because it's not a new movie, but they make all their money off of concessions. Like, I talked to a guy, a theater owner one time. I have a friend of mine who runs a theater, and he was like, it is different for every movie, because they have contracts for renting, more or less renting the rights to these movies. They don't get a lot. The studios and how much it costs to have these movies do.
When I think one of the Star Wars movies they talked about was either like Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker. It was like a 90-10 split. So 90% went to the studio, 10% went to the blah, blah, blah.
It's something crazy like that.
Yeah. And then like as the weeks go, but they had that. Most times it'll be like a 50-40 split or 60-40 split.
It works its way down.
60-40 split. Next weekend it'll be a little bit less and a little bit less, as a movie. Because, the most money is always made on the first weekend. So.
Oh, for sure. It's always going to be declining, unless it's like some word of mouth movie. Most movies are like that.
Yeah, like Top Gun.
Yeah, but this movie, I doubt this one costs, I doubt they were getting that crazy split like that. They're probably getting, at least a 50-50 on it, because they're just, you can go buy the movie. Well, I'm sure it's not costing as much as like a brand new movie for them. So they're making money off of this, plus that's not taking any concession, or taking concessions into account. Like I said, it's really that $1 thing. It's that they threw it out that they're trying to do something honorable, and I'm like, is it though? I don't know. But hey, if you are a fan of Grease, which I'm not a huge fan of Grease.
My friend's a fan of Grease, so I told him about it. He's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, if I had realized this and had a little bit extra time, my wife's a huge Grease fan. I probably would have taken her to see it, so I would have contributed to that. But I'm not a huge fan of Grease, but if you are a fan of Grease, you can go see it in theaters. There is theater experiences. It's worth going to see in some movies. Like we're going to talk about one in a little while that I'm looking forward to, a re-release that I'm going to go see in theaters. That I've seen
just go 20 minutes later. Yeah, just go 20 minutes later. Fucking
all right.
Trailers.
So, Jamie Foxx. How do you feel about Jamie Foxx, Nick? You like Jamie Foxx?
He's fine. He's good. He's a guy that acts, that won an Oscar.
He does. He sings sometimes too. But he re-released, not re-released. He released, or not he, Netflix actually released a movie that he is headlining about a week ago called Day Shift. I planned on doing a review, but I kept on getting blocked to do it. Overall, enjoyable enough. Not like the best movie on my rating scale. I'd say it was worth the stream. It's worth streaming, which is where it is. I think it's in its right place. It didn't need to go to theaters. Fun enough.
Can I make a confession?
Sure.
I didn't watch Day Shift. I actually chose to watch the Why Cats Are the Way They Are instead of Day Shift. I think I made the right choice. Yeah, there's a cat documentary. I'm like, it's got to be better than Day Shift.
Well, Day Shift wasn't awful. Day Shift was fine. It was
right.
It's fine. That's all. It's not going to be in anybody's top 10 worst or best of the year. It's just kind of it's fine. It's got some issues, but it's a nice afternoon watch on streaming. I was not offended by it nor blown away, but it had some cool stuff in it. But we're not talking about Day Shift. While being interviewed about Day Shift, someone asked Jamie Foxx about a movie he directed, his directorial debut in 2016, a movie called All-Star Weekend. It's a kind of an all-star studded cast on there as well, with people like Robert Downey Jr. and some other people I don't have in front of me, but lots of people in it. He got lots of people from Hollywood to make this comedy movie that people have seen it and they said it is really funny, but it's like that old school type of comedy. It's Superbad-esque, kind of like, it's a really funny movie. That movie still hasn't come out. It's been shelved since 2016. It is done, in the can, ready to be. People have seen it, like I said. He was asked about it because it's known that he made it, and people saying, when is this coming out? Is All-Star Weekend finally coming out? And he said, no, not right now. It's his choice. He is choosing to leave it on the shelf. And his reasoning is he says, we will release it. I'm going to release it. I could. But he said, I don't want to release it until people go back to laughing again. Talking about how the state of the world has been for the past 5 or so years. He's saying people just kind of have lost their sense of humor. And this is also going to the whole thing about how many comedians have been saying, because Jamie Foxx is a comedian as well. He did stand-up. Many comedians have been saying that it's, comedy is dying. You can't make comedy. A lot of the time is at someone else's expense, and it's a delicate balance of how you do that. But many comedians, such as Rowan Atkinson, John Cleese, Dave Chappelle, just lots of people, even Chris Rock, I think he commented on it, have been saying comedy is not what it used to be. You can't say things anymore because you say something and they'll shut you down. And that's more or less what it sounds like Jamie Foxx is saying here is like, I want to go back. I want to get back to when people are okay to laugh at things again, and then we'll release this really funny movie. And I want to see it. I hate to see a movie shelved, especially when people are saying it's good. But, I mean, I get where he's coming from. Because if it's a movie, because he has Robert Downey Jr. is in it, and apparently he plays a Mexican. Because he saw him play the Lazarus character in Tropic Thunder. So it's been likened to Tropic Thunder in many ways. You couldn't release Tropic Thunder nowadays. It would not get the positive reception it got then. I mean, people like it now, but that's because it came out then.
It's this generation's Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, very much so. And so I kind of get where he's coming from. He's like, I've got this movie. A lot of people are saying it's good, but I don't know if the masses will. If they'll allow me to have this movie come out if it pushes a lot of boundaries. So, I mean, he apparently, once again, this is just more informational than anything. If you've heard of this movie, it's eventually coming. He said he's going to release it. It's not like he's not releasing because it's bad. He's releasing it because he's afraid people just won't get it right now. So hopefully the world does change back around to where we can have some good comedy again. Because I do agree with that. But I agree with it and I disagree with it. Because I think when somebody does, in today's climate, have the balls to get up and do that old school comedy and do it right, like someone like Dave Chappelle, he catches a lot of flack. A lot. But he also, people love it. I think the majority want that. They want to laugh again. We want to go back to these things that are funny because, it's fun to laugh at people. It is what it is.
Yeah.
If you laugh at there's laughing at someone in a malicious way, and then there's laughing at someone in a we're all laughing together way. And that's what I feel like someone like Dave Chappelle's type of comedy is, or all the great comedians. That's what their comedy was. They're able to laugh at everyone, including themselves. I think that's the key. You have to be able to look in the mirror and laugh at yourself too, and be able to look at it and say, I'm a fucking idiot. And people won't do that anymore. They're okay with laughing at everybody else, but when the camera's on them, when the mirror's on them, they just don't. They're like, no, you can't laugh at me. So hopefully we'll get back to that, and we'll get to see this movie. And if all reports are true, then Jamie Foxx's All-Star Weekend is pretty good. So be looking forward to it in 2035.
I got 2035.
HBO Max. You got HBO Max, right, Nick?
I do. Indeed.
Well, you might be happy to hear that you may. Well, I don't think you will, but you could. And if you're interested, if someone's interested in HBO Max, they could be getting a discount. I think this might just be for new subscribers, or you may have to change your plan. But HBO Max is discounting annually. It has a new tier, pretty much, and they're discounting it 30%. And this is mostly to try and make up for the dozens and dozens of titles that have suddenly left the platform due to this whole HBO Max Warner Brothers Discovery shakeup that's been going on. So a shit ton of programming has left the platform, some of which that was the only place you could get it. And they're saying, hey, here's 30% off. So we're kind of fucking the service right now, which that service was actually doing really well. They were almost at 100 million subscribers, or whatever they call it. So, I mean, the service has been a success. But, yeah, this whole shakeup where they're taking stuff off, people aren't happy about it. What do you think of this? Do you think that they should... I guess the question is, what do you think of this? And do you think that this 30% should have been just kind of spread across to everybody, if nothing else, at least for a period of time? Because I think it's actually an ad tier. But people
No,
are
it's-
saying it's being reported that it is. They pushed it out just now to kind of make up for this purge, if you will.
It's actually 40%, believe it or not. Oh, when you prepay
really?
for the year, it's 40%. So you have to prepay for the
okay.
entire year. So I like HBO Max. I hated it when it first came to be, but I got it for free through was it AT&T or whatever it was. You got it for free, and it became a service that I really liked. But I have huge problems with some of this stuff. I know it's an ad, I know it's cost cutting and stuff like that, but they got rid of like 200 episodes of Sesame Street, which I love me some Sesame Street. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, why is that? I read that, and I know there was a recent
it's all
other
about money.
Sesame Street controversy.
Yeah,
have
some
anything to do with that?
contract. It's probably a
contracts,
contract.
okay.
Yeah, contract thing. But they got rid of all these movies and stuff like that. It's just like, because they don't want to pay residuals and stuff like that. It's just like, at some point you gotta rebalance your whole system, and I know that's what they're doing and all that stuff like that. But it's like you're turning HBO Max into something that is not as exciting as it once was. Just I don't know.
Well, I like HBO Max. Now, granted, I
Yeah.
don't use it as much as I should, but every time I go on there, it is kind of like a refreshing change from Netflix. It's HBO Max reminds me a lot of what Netflix used to be, because Netflix has turned into more TV shows and series and their originals good. And they got movies, yeah, but it's all lots of Netflix originals and TV shows. It used to be the place for movies, and Hulu was the place for TV shows.
Yeah.
But now it's like oversaturated with TV shows. I feel like you can find the movies, but like this is what it puts in front of your face. And HBO Max seemed like it's got TV shows too, but it had more movies, and it just seemed like I was happy with the service. I haven't checked out in a while, but I'm happy with it. But I don't know what all's left the service. The whole Warner Brothers Discovery thing is just so up in the air. I think that this could be exactly what Warner Brothers needs, but we won't know that for probably a year. I mean, it's going to take them time.
Can they buy all the Melissa McCarthy and Ben Falcone stuff and just purge that into oblivion?
Yeah, that needed to be the dozens and dozens of things that they purged. Because
I think they did purge whatever they worked on. So
okay, well, there's a silver lining to all this. But anyway, if you're an HBO Max subscriber, you might want to go in there and check and see if something you love might not be there anymore. I don't know, and this might not affect a lot of people. Maybe the stuff they took off was just a bunch of shit nobody was watching. I don't know. It sounds like it was a monetary thing, which everything is. But okay, moving into our last little news bit of the week before we get into the big hard-hitting stories, we're going to talk about Bethesda ZeniMax, or Microsoft Bethesda ZeniMax real quick. Just a little informational thing. As some of you may or may not know, Gamescom, which is kind of like the European E3, that's kind of a simplification, because Gamescom is actually bigger than E3. But either way, Gamescom, another big video game centric trade show, is happening August 23rd. Starts on this Tuesday, I believe it is. Kicks off with Jeff Keighley's little show that he does yearly. Going to have some announcements and stuff like that. They usually don't have as many big announcements at Gamescom. It's more just a lot of shit. They have announcements, but E3 is known for its announcements. But either way, Gamescom, and everybody's putting out there, all the companies are saying, like, here's an idea of what we're going to have. Come to our show or watch our show because we're going to have this, we're going to have that, and some extra stuff and blah, blah, blah. Well, Bethesda, because even though they are owned by Microsoft, they still kind of like do their own thing. They put out a blog post saying a lot of the stuff they would have, and in the original blog post, it mentioned Starfield and Redfall. Now, those are their two big games that got delayed this year. Starfield, of course, most people have heard of. It's the Fallout in space. And everybody was really looking for that. Very disappointed that it got pushed off until early next year. But you know what? I'd rather have a good game tomorrow than a shit game today. And Redfall as well was pushed off, which was a game, honestly, I originally was not really that hyped on. But the more I see about it, I'm like, this game actually looks pretty fucking cool. But either way,
some of the stuff they're talking about with that game it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, because they have been showing a lot about it recently, and it looks cooler and cooler every time I see it. I thought it was going to be like a multiplayer focused game. No, it's single player. It's got multiplayer. It's got everything in there, and they do have a big single player focus on it. So I'm getting more and more excited about that game. But Apparently, Bethesda removed Starfield and Redfall from their Gamescom blog post. They put it up there, it was in there, and then they kind of just, in the night, like a thief in the night, took those two, the little line that said something about them being in there, out. Now, they did not say that those two wouldn't be there. They just said, and we know that Redfall, apparently it has been confirmed, Redfall will be there. They are showing something about it, probably just some gameplay or something. But Starfield's the one everybody's really like, we need more Starfield. We want to know more about it. When is the actual date? And that's kind of like the big game. It's supposed to be the big game of this year. Hoping it'll be the big game of next year. But people want to know more about it. And they were excited about that. Now it's just been taken away. What do you think? Do you think this means that... Because I think people are expecting... Because Starfield showed up at E3 in like a little gameplay trailer-esque thing.
Yeah.
But now people they're like, okay, we're working up to this thing. Keep that hype train going. Since it got delayed, at least show us what you're doing. Give us something to say, okay, the wait is worth it till next year. What do you think they're going to do? Do you think Starfield's just going to not be there? And if so, how does this affect Bethesda and Microsoft?
I think they should focus on They should do what Nintendo does and focus on Starfield when it's ready to be focused on. Because obviously, when they had the release date in November, whatever this year I think they put it out last year,
November 11th.
November 11th. Oh yeah, and we were. To me personally, I was watching them. Like, I texted my friends. I'm like, it ain't never gonna happen. There's no way this game's coming out in November. And they should just like go radio silent. Not even bring it to Gamescom. Bring it when it's ready. Redfall looks like it's almost ready. I mean, yeah, it got pushed back next year, but they started releasing some like actual footage for it. They released how like some of the bosses are going to be bigger than the stage. How some of the stages are bigger than I think Prey's whole entire gameplay stage or whatever. So I think the problem is these people are too ready to release shit, and then it takes like 6 years. That's why Rockstar does it as well as they do, because they're like, fuck you guys, we're going to release something when we're ready to release something. And that's what they should do with Starfield. Just release it when it's ready. I don't need it. It's like Nintendo, just release it when it's fucking ready, and that's it.
I think I do think that's what was behind the cancellation, or not cancellation. The pushing it back to next year. They finally had to come to terms and be like, we know this is going to be a big bad one, but it's just not going to be up to where we want it to be. They don't need another Fallout 76. So I think that they are going to release it when it's ready, but I think that there's pressure on them to put something out there to say, hey, here's to keep the hype train going. Yeah,
I hope Xbox and Microsoft and Phil Spencer have told Bethesda, just get your bugs out of your fucking game. Just fix this fucking system that you have. Hopefully they have their... I guess, are they using Unreal Engine? I think maybe for the game. I don't.
They are using a new engine. I don't know if it's Unreal or not, but they're using something new.
Just make sure the game works. Don't be fucking like, give me a game where like we can mod it so quickly because there's so many fucking glitches. I don't need that shit.
I mean, it's a Bethesda game.
I know.
There will be a certain amount of glitches. It's just how, as long as they're not game breaking, I'm cool with it. I mean, the fire shitting dragons and in Skyrim are epic.
Yeah.
They didn't break the game. You just see dragons and like
PS3 one did, yeah.
So I was okay with that, but me myself, I don't know what this means. I don't know if this means that like it's just not going to be there. If it's not there, it ain't the end of the world for me. I know that Microsoft is like, hey man, I think Microsoft's probably telling them, do what you got to do. We don't want you to have a shit game come out, but we do want this game to come out because we got a lot riding on this. They had a lot of other games coming, but Starfield is a behemoth. It's huge. They did not delay this game because they wanted to. Like, I don't think anybody there wanted to delay it, especially after putting a date out there and making such a big deal about it. No, they didn't want to, but, shit happens. I would rather them just delay it. Because, exactly. If it comes out and it's amazing, like if it comes out in February, and a lot of people are saying they think it's going to be February, but if it comes out, whenever it comes out, if it's just, like, amazing, it'll be good. Nobody will remember the delay. They'll be like, oh, well, this fucking game's amazing, so... But if you're looking forward to it at Gamescom, there's a chance it won't be there. Redfall definitely will be. Don't know if it'll be anything new, but there will be stuff there. It seems like Redfall's a little bit further along, even though they said that Starfield would be coming first. I don't know. We'll see. But Starfield, Redfall, may or may not have a big presence next week. We'll find out. By the time you may be watching this little blurb of news here. You may already know. We'll see. It's because I think that Bethesda has their little thing right there in the beginning of the week. It may be Tuesday or Wednesday, so we'll know around the 23rd. Hopefully, I mean, I'd like it to be there, but if it's not, it ain't the end of the world. The fucking game's still coming.
Yeah.
So.